Tonight, in this room at this table, my granddaughter spread a stack of unpaid utility bills in front of me and asked to borrow my name, as if a name were not a roof. The bills sit between us on this table in this room, loud, without making a sound. I'm Zelda. I watch how names get used. My granddaughter Lila is in this chair across from me, jacket still on, cheeks red from the cold and from shame. The top bill is in red letters. Behind it, more paper, more numbers. Beside her sits Marco, her boyfriend, drumming his fingers, eyes jumping from me to the bills and back again. They want a quick yes. But this table is not a quick place. This is the place where I learned, the hard way, that a name on a bill is not just ink. An hour ago, my phone buzzed in this room. Lila wrote that they needed to talk about money and that it was nothing bad, just a small favor. Small is a soft word that often hides big weight. I put the phone down on this table and opened my notebook. On the first page, I keep my money lines in big writing. My hand went to one of them at once. It says that my name on a bill means I am the one who must pay, even if someone else promised. I read that line out loud in this chair until it felt steady in my chest. Only then did I write, "Come over," and put the kettle on. Now the kettle has gone quiet, and the 3 cups on this table are warm, but only mine has a sip taken. Marco clears his throat. He says the power company is being unfair. He says they will not put the new account in his name because of some old late payments, that they are punishing them for the past. He pushes one bill toward me and says the company only cares that someone with a good record signs. He adds that since I have a perfect payment record and a steady pension, they will accept me. He calls it a formality. To him, my name is just a key he wants to borrow. I do not touch the pen they brought. Instead, I touch the papers and turn them so the words face me in this room. I read each line slowly. Account holder, Marco. Past due amounts, disconnection warning. Notes about missed promises and broken payment plans. It is not just bad luck. It is a pattern. I ask who paid the last time the power was cut. Lila soaks her eyes on this table and says they moved in with a friend for a week. Marco shrugs and says everyone falls behind sometimes, and that this is just life. I nod. It is life. But it is also numbers, habits, and names. I look at Lila, not at Marco. I say that when she was small, maybe 7, she sat on this table and colored a picture while I cried on the phone in this room. She does not remember, but I do. Back then, my first husband put a store card and a loan in my name without telling me. When his business failed, the letters came to my address. The bank did not ask who spent the money. They only saw my name on the paper. I paid for years, bill after bill, out of this chair, one check at a time. That was the day I wrote my first rule about names. Lila wipes her eyes with the back of her hand. She says this is different, that Marco did not hide anything, that he is right here. She says they will handle the payments and that they just need my name to unlock the door. Marco nods and says the company will not even call me, that everything will be online and in their phones. I hear their hope and their worry. I do not blame them for wanting lights and heat. But I hear another sound too, a whisper from the past that says, "Be careful." I open my notebook on this table and flip to a clean page. I am not here to scold. I am here to see clearly. On the clean page, I draw 3 small boxes in this room. I write at the top of the first box what is already in my name. In there, I list my own home account, my phone, my one small card, my pension. In the second box, I write what they want to add to my name. That box holds their new power account, their internet, and, if I let this pattern start, maybe later their rent or their car. In the third box, I write what happens if they cannot pay. I do not fill it in yet. I look up and tell them we will let the company help us write that part. I pick up my phone from this table. I tell them we are going to call the power company right now from this room with the papers in front of us. Marco shifts in his chair and says that is not needed, that he already talked to them. I say I am not doubting him. I am just going to ask simple questions using my own ears. I dial the number on the bill and put the phone on speaker. A tired voice answers. I give the account number and ask what it would mean, in plain words, if I put my name on a new account at their address. The voice explains in slow language that my name would be on the new contract. If a payment is late, the letter would come to the person whose name is on the account. If the balance grows, that person is the one the company will chase, even if other adults live there. Old debt from the old account stays with the old name, but any new missed payments would sit on my record too. The voice does not care that I am a grandmother. The company only cares about the name and number written in their system. I thank the worker and write down every word at this table while Lila watches my hand move. When the call ends, the room is quiet again. I read my notes back to them in easy words. I tell them that if I sign, my name becomes the first line on New Trouble if this house falls behind. I tell them I am too old to fight with collectors for someone else's choices. Marco spreads his hands and says, I do not trust him. Lila says they feel like children being scolded. I say I am not calling them bad. I am calling the contract what it is. A promise with my name on it is my promise. I slide the notebook to the center of this table so they can see my boxes. In the third box, under what happens if they cannot pay, I write 3 short lines. The first line says that the company calls me, not them. The second line says that my credit, which I have kept clean for years, gets the stain. The third line says that when I need a new fridge or a small loan for my own safety, the bank may say no because I tied my name to other people's unpaid bills. I read those lines out loud. I tell them that this table has heard enough crying over money in my life. I am not going to plant new trouble here with my own hand. Marco leans back in his chair and laughs without humor. He says family is supposed to help. He says other grandmothers would be glad to put their name down. He asks what good is a good record if I do not use it for my own blood. Lila looks at me, torn in the middle. I feel the pull in my chest. I love her. I do not enjoy seeing her in this bind. But I also know that rescuing her with my name will teach her the wrong lesson. It would teach her that if she spends past her limits, someone older will carry it. That is not help. That is harm, with a smile. I take a breath and keep my voice low so it does not shake. I say I will not put my name on their house bills. I say that this is not about love. It is about safety. I tell them I can offer 2 other kinds of help. First, I will help Lila call the company herself and ask for a payment plan in her own name. Second, if they show me a written plan they can really keep, I can give 1 small gift, maybe 1 month of support. paid straight to the company from my own account, one time only. I say I will not hand them cash, and I will not sign any ongoing promise. My help will not hide the real cost. Lila nods slowly. Her eyes are wet, but there is a light inside them that looks like understanding. Marco does not like this. He says a payment plan will take too long. He says they need the power back today. I ask if he has called his own parents, his own family. He looks away. He says they do not have anyone like me. I say gently that he does not have me either, not in the way he wants. My name is not a spare tool in his box. It was hard-earned and carefully kept. I will not lend it out. The room feels heavy. For a moment, I almost wish I was softer. Then I think of the letters from years ago, the ones that called me by name while my first husband hid in silence. I think of the long lines I stood in to clear debts I never chose. I think of how long it took to have a clean record again. I am not angry now. I am simply awake. I tell Lila that I would rather have her mad at me for a month than see her someday holding a bill with my name on it that she cannot pay. I tell her that this is how I show love now, with clear lines instead of quick rescues. Marco stands up from his chair in this room. He says they will figure it out without my help, and that he should have known better than to ask an old woman for anything. Lila flinches at his words. I do not answer him. I look only at her and say she can always come back here, with or without him, and that this table will still be here. He leaves without saying goodbye. The door closes. The quiet he leaves behind is sharp, but also clean. Lila stays seated, small in this big chair. We sit for a while without talking, just listening to our own hearts slow down. After a long time, Lila takes a slow breath. She says she did not see the trap in the favor. She says she just saw the dark apartment and the cold food and the fear of being without power. She says it feels different now, seeing her name and mine in those boxes on my page. I nod. I tell her that fear can make any plan look good for a moment. That is why we write things down at this table instead of signing in a rush at someone else's. I hand her a pen and say she can make her own boxes if she likes. She hesitates, then starts to draw. Together in this room, we call the power company again, this time with her voice leading. She explains that she wants a plan in her own name, no extra names, just her and her bill. The worker sounds surprised, then helpful. They set up a simple schedule with smaller payments. I listen and make notes in case she forgets later. When the call ends, Lila looks different, still worried, but taller inside. She says Marco will be angry. I say that if a person only stays when you put your name on their bills, they are not staying for you. That truth hurts. It also saves time. Weeks pass. In this room, the stack of red letters grows thinner in my folder, not because I paid them, but because Lila kept her side of the plan. One day, she comes alone, no Marco, and sits at this table with a new calm. She says they broke up after he mocked her for not getting me to sign. She says it hurts, but also feels like a heavy coat has been taken off her shoulders. She shows me her payment record on her phone. A row of on-time marks glows back at us. I feel something warm in my chest that is bigger than pride. It is relief. If you were here in this room with me now, I would slide a blank page onto this table and hand you a pen. We would write 2 simple boxes. In one, we would list the bills already in your name. In the other, we would list what people are asking you to add. Then we would write one clear line in big letters, a line that fits your life. Maybe it would say that your name belongs first to your own roof. Maybe it would say that you do not sign for other people's light and heat. Whatever the words, we would let this room and this table hear them first, so your mouth can remember them when pressure comes.